Check, check.
Check is basic.
Why are you switching seats?
Silence. The depth, the intensity, the volume. This is not just a science equation, this is reality. This reality is evident, prevalent, all around us. The discomfort you have felt in this situation is not only said to one person. This is common among all of you in the audience. The urge to check your phone, to cough, to sneeze, anything, any desperate attempt, even to speak, to interrupt the speaker, my God. Anything to break this silence. But I must ask, if you're so desperate to break the silence in this awkward situation, why don't we break the silence in our lives? Why don't we break the silence in our problems, in our governments, in our nations? We have broken the silence in this situation, but we don't do it where it really matters. But it's only then, when you take this silence, prevalent in the nooks and crannies of our lives, always there, but invisible to our subconscious mind. Always prevalent, always there, always existing. But no, we seem to ignore this silence. This problem that we face, we seem to ignore that problem. It's only then, when you take this silence and place it on a silver platter before you, you realize the true depth of silence. And then you only do realize the awkwardness and the discomfort that comes with this. And this discomfort is here in every single thing that happens. Silence is not just speaking. Silence is when someone's hurting. Silence is when someone is excluded. Silence is when people are not paid attention to. When someone's problem is simply brushed across. And this silence is a residue of fear. And fear and ego. These two things we have constructed these grand facades and walls with. We have boxed ourselves in between this grand palace of jade, but we don't realize this is not a palace, this is a prison. And if you prefer to choose a prison, that is your own choice, but I myself would not prefer a prison. We choose behind to live these walls and not to connect. And the only thing these walls stand to hide is our own self, our honesty. Nothing. We construct them brick by brick, since childhood to adulthood to old age until our death. Our lives are full of fear. Every single conversation we skip, from the littlest to the biggest thing. Every single interaction we skip. Our families, our friends, whether it be through ego or fear. If you are too scared to talk to someone superior than you, if you're too egotistical to talk to someone lower than you, you are an example of this silence. You're only perpetuating this silence. Because if we can't talk together as humans, as people in this society, we'll never be able to solve any problem. Wars will continue. Poverty will continue. Inequality will continue. But only when we ask and bring together as equal do we realize we are humans. What fear, what ego do you speak of? On your deathbed when you're 90 years of age, 100 years if you're lucky. You look back, life is over, it's done. Look at the things you miss, could have done. At the end, it's not the money that matters. It's not the success that matters. It's not the position that matters. What matters is the legacy, the people you helped, the smiles you put on, when you were there for someone. That is what matters. When you look on the deathbed, you see nothing but dead emptiness. Because when we live by in these jade empty palaces, we can't realize how sad and empty the situation is. Speaking from experience, I've spoken in various different competitions, contests, United Nations, everywhere. rooms full of audiences, applause, spotlights. But what I've realized, these mean nothing. I could give the biggest flamboyant speech ever, most charismatic and charming ever. But people don't connect to perfection. They connect to honesty, the part you have hidden inside that palace. The part you're too fearful to show. And only then, when you accept this part inside you, can you make yourself happy and make others happy and truly connect in a better together environment. It is only then, when you focus on yourself, can you truly focus on someone else. It's only then you can work towards success. The first speech I ever gave said everything perfectly, blindly regurgitated every word, the perfect voice I could imagine, thought I did brilliantly. But what happened was, I realized I felt this emptiness. I may have given this biggest thanks, such good audience, such good applause. I felt nothing. The speech was as good as it was just, I don't know what I felt. And I think most of us can agree with this. The feeling of success, but the emptiness inside. You've won it, you've done lots of things in life. Then you realize you have nothing. And that feeling is when you're putting on a mask. When you put on a mask to be perfect. And that mask of perfection is when you really realize that's not the perfection that matters, it's on the inside. So I really urge all of you to come together. It's really important that we focus on issues, but it's important that we focus on ourselves. We focus on our own mental health, and we focus on our own issues that we're combating here. So I say, give up this fear. Give up this silence. Break down this wall brick by brick the way you built this up. We water the tree of fear every day by this silence. I say, stop watering this tree. Please, cut down this tree. And the only way you can cut down this tree is with an act of acceptance. Only then will you find happiness. Only then will you find contentment. And once you find this contentment, you'll be able to share this contentment. And only then can we live better together. So when you break this silence, amazing things do happen. Friends opens up. Businesses collaborate. A community grows. A nation heals. And humanity becomes one. Because no longer are we fearful of each other. No longer are we fearful of our minds. We are instead accepting of each other's faults. Not each other's faults, our faults. This is the way we've been made. And we must learn to live with it. Grow. We must not be fearful, and we must not live in silence. So I bring you to grow, connect, and really ensure that you're continually working towards breaking the silence and breaking this barrier. Thank you.